Philly, Saquon Barkley. Rumors are heating up. Now let me talk about this from the jump here. There are tons of different rumors and smoke going around on where Barkley's going. No one really knows. No one could know. We're waiting until things officially kick off for the new league year. Nobody has a clue ultimately where he's going. We can only come in here and predict and assess and break down what is coming at us 100 different ways. And this particular report today has, I can't count how many different versions and takes, but Philadelphia is being talked about and spread all over the place. Philly. Some saying New York could be most likely his landing spot back in New York in 2024. That rumor is circulating a lot today, but this one's circulating more than any of them, and I've got examples on screen. We're going to talk about Philly. What's the likelihood that Barkley lands in Philly, and what would that mean for not only the Eagles, but for his fantasy value in 2024 and beyond? The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Yo, welcome to the show. Appreciate you all filing in. Hit that thumb up button and subscribe if you're new. We're talking Barkley to the Eagles. Rumors heating up, and there are so many rumors floating around out there today regarding this particular landing spot. Here's just one simple report. Barkley to the Eagles is a real possibility, and there's mutual interest in both sides. On both sides, this is just one small rumor. This was a Tiki Barber talking on the topic. It's such a real possibility that he's out there ranting and raving about how Barkley wants to command respect and retain his legacy. He can't go to the Eagles. Don't go to the Eagles, Barkley. He's pleading, don't go to the Eagles. I mean, it's that much on the minds of people. It's circulating that much around. And again, nothing can be concrete at all. So for Angry Angus in here or Keyboard Clifford going, you can't, this is fake news, you're just looking for clicks. Like, relax, bro, relax. This one here from the Giants Wire saying Eagles Saquon Barkley and the Eagles share mutual interest in connecting potentially. This is all probably coming off of one report and everybody re-reporting it, just like we talked about yesterday with the New England Patriot rumor. This one right here. Speaking of what if Saquon Barkley joins the Philadelphia Eagles, currently set at plus 800 in terms of the odds. It would be crazy. Let's talk about the possibility. What would it mean for Philly? And then we'll break down to what it means for Barkley and what it means for other fantasy football assets on the Eagles. I would say this. I would say that if anybody thinks that Barkley can't land anywhere, they don't understand the reality of the situation, that these running backs cost nothing. They cost nothing. Barkley's projected salary in New York might be $13 million, roughly. On the open market, the stabs that people are going to take at Barkley will be in the $10 to $11 million a year range. That is a lot of money to the average man. No one's trying to say that. It's not. We'd all be glad to take $10 million for a 10-year contract, let alone a one-year deal or 1 year, $10 million at a time, 2 or 3 year deal. But for an athlete at the level of Saquon Barkley, for him to be getting $10, $11 million a year, team-friendly deals past year 2, and some upfront money, which is going to be the key for Barkley, and that's really where he's getting paid. Teams would be crazy not to bring him in. You might say, hey, Smitty, this doesn't sound like the greatest idea. But when you say something like even KC doesn't fit, that's crazy. KC, anybody should be going after this guy. I realize you got Pacheco. $10 million Every team in the National Football League that has a shot at a title should be going after Saquon Barkley. Every team, the Bengals probably letting Joe Mixon loose, they should be going after Saquon Barkley. The Buffalo Bills, James Cook ain't no special product. Go after Saquon Barkley. Every team, Houston Texans especially, because they don't have necessarily any sort of running back plan right now. Could be Singletary coming back, but he's a free agent as well. They should be going after Saquon Barkley. But it shouldn't stop at, we have a running back. This is a $10 million investment. And kind of going back to this is crazy for the New England Patriots to be discussing it. My initial take was, they've got Ramondre. Why would they do that? Again, I think I answered my own question, or my own critical critique, if you will. Every team should be going after Saquon Barkley for $10 million a pop. This is not a lot of money in terms of contracts and salary, and running backs get screwed, and you might as well go after a player like Saquon any chance you can. Now, if you're not a contender, I do believe at the end of the day, the New England Patriots need wide receivers. They need to go after other pieces, but I'm just saying, at $10 million a pop, I can think of ways teams blow $10 million a year on players that are no good at all. I've seen tight ends get money better than running backs, and the tight end that gets it doesn't even deserve half of that money or a quarter of that money. This reminds me in some ways, the way teams overpay for certain players and not for others. It reminds me of like the NBA paying a big man $100 million because he's a big man. There are certain players that get paid a ton of money. Barkley isn't one of them. Barkley's getting 10, 11, 12 million a year. Probably get, a version of that amount in an upfront signing bonus. That's really what he's, going to get paid for. That's what he's looking for. He's going to get 12 million, 11 million, 10 million for 1 year in 2024. He's going to have a 2025 salary, and then probably a team-friendly deal from that point on, a way for the team to get out of it. But really, it's going to be, what he's looking at is this year he's trying to make 20 mil. He's trying to get a 10 million plus signing bonus with a $10+ million salary. So 20 mil for 2024 is what Barkley's looking to do, which is a good payday, again, to the average man. But this is something the Philadelphia Eagles can stomach. They can take this on. The Eagles can take on this amount of money, get a stud running back in this lineup, and start having some balance. And I think that when you talk about what went wrong last year in Philly, it was really the remnants of Shane Steichen leaving, Gannon leaving, the two coordinators, DC and OC, leaving, and really not filling that void properly. It was Sirianni thinking he could man the ship a little better by himself than he could with those two individuals that really knew what they were doing, especially with the pieces on the board. Shane Steichen is a masterful quarterback developer, and he's going to do everything he did with Jalen Hurts, he's doing and will continue to do with AR5, which is why Anthony Richardson is on our Saturn men list, because Shane Steichen's going to make him into a superstar.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man.
Look at him.
One giant leap for Saturn.
Look at him. Spaceman extraordinaire. So once Steichen left, once Gannon left, once they had this like void in both the DC and OC spots, it was like Sirianni tried to pick up some of the slack. They didn't get the right pieces in place, and the scapegoats were certainly the staff not named Sirianni last year when the Eagles failed to deliver. But I do believe Sirianni, with the right OC, the right pieces in place, can man the ship, kind of like Campbell, kind of like D'Amico Ryans, kind of like a couple other of these situations where you have a head coach that's not really in charge of the offense, right? I think bringing in Kellen Moore, the new OC in Philly, is going to solve all the problems. And the Niners and everybody that thinks that the Eagles can be walked over, the Cowboys, everybody that thinks that the Eagles have been figured out, that Jalen Hurts has been figured out, all these crazy fandom locations on Instagram and the web where you go and find hatred on Hurts being slung, mud being slung at him. Oh, he's been figured out. He's horrible. Look at his skills drills. Look how bad he is when he throws the football on a skills drill. He's been figured out. He's garbage. Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 NFL quarterback. He might be a top 5 fantasy quarterback, but he's not a top 5 quarterback. He's barely top 7 or 8. People that think Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 NFL quarterback are misremembering what this man is capable of doing. Oh, but Smitty, if they take away the brotherly shove, he's going to be garbage. They aren't taking away the brotherly shove. The last word we got is that staying in play. There are not enough teams against it. Teams are trying to use it to their advantage as well. Use the blueprint that the Eagles have put out there for everybody to try and also use this technique that has been available to everybody, but it has been Sirianni. It has been the Eagles that have figured out how to deploy this type of unstoppable strategy, and everybody that can't do it is jealous of it. And everybody that tries to do it doesn't do it as good. And even though we do rip on Sirianni, I do rip on Sirianni, this is an unbelievable formula in place as long as you have the proper OC there. Sirianni brought in Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore helped create one of the best, most potent offenses in the National Football League. Aerial attacks in the National Football League in Dallas for a handful of years. Went over, yes, he didn't. He failed in Chargerville, but I don't hold that against him because that was a setup to fail type situation anyway. Kellen Moore marches into Philly with the most weapons he's had since Dallas, and some might argue more weapons than he had in Dallas in Philly. And now you've got Kellen Moore ready to unleash a new version of Jalen Hurts that is a tweaked version, not a brand new ground floor up change of Jalen Hurts, but a retooled, retweaked, refocused, remotivated Jalen Hurts with a brotherly shove still in place. And I have people coming to me saying Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. Well, I call misstep on your part. I call fact on this side of the fence, not on your side of the fence. And I tell you, go get me a coffee. Because Jalen Hurts is a top 5 NFL quarterback and fantasy quarterback. Hold our beers. Don't believe us. Watch it unfold. Then complain how it was Kellen Moore, how it's the brotherly shove, that it's not Jalen Hurts. When Jalen Hurts returns to the top 5 quarterbacks, NFL-wise, NFL standards, you're going to have excuses as to why he's that good again. To look at one season and pretend he got figured out is hilarious to me. To act like all of the things Jalen Hurts has done can be taken down, torn down, and not considered because Sirianni didn't have the right pieces in place once the OC and DC collective left and went to different locations to go succeed because the tree was good. I tend to say to you, enjoy the show. Because Sirianni, while he's not the answer, he is part of the solution. If the right pieces are in place, this team is going to thrive. The Eagles will be back in 2024. They had a small little 2023 blip on the radar, and the people trying to come down hard on the Eagles off one bad season when there's so many amazing pieces in place are going to be sad to report back that they were wrong. Barkley would be an amazing solution for a team that took DeAndre Swift, mind you, and shall I say misused him? I think I can say, even though DeAndre Swift had a very good season, they misused DeAndre Swift in 2023 in Philly. He played really well. This is one of the most elusive, best catching backs in the National Football League. And they didn't throw to him at all. And that was what a lot of people said. Hey, Smitty, why are you high on Swift? They're not thrown to their running backs. And to a degree, a lot of people were right, but it didn't change the fact that they ran Swift very well. He ran very well. He stayed healthy, and he looked phenomenal. Now, Kellen Moore might change, I believe, a lot of what we've been seeing in terms of Philadelphia running back reception usage. I think no matter who's back there, Swift returns, you'll see Swift catch more passes, but some of it has to do with Jalen Hurts and his desire to tuck and run versus dump it off to a running back. He feels he can maybe get more out of it, and I understand that will probably maintain in 2024 to a degree, but Kellen Moore will design plays for the RB. Kellen Moore will implement a scheme that will be more appropriate for, planning to throw to the running back before the play's even underway. Whereas I believe everything last year, the year prior, all of it was, okay, the play's not designed for the back. It's up to Jalen Hurts to involve the running back and dump it off to him if, let's say, he's checking down and his downfield options aren't open and he doesn't want to tuck and run it. When you have these other downfield options constantly open, Devontae Smith, amazing route runner. A.J. Brown, amazing player all around. You've got Goddard back healthy or on and off the field, obviously. You've got just a plethora of options, and if those options aren't available, those are the 1 and 2 options going through his progressions. It's tuck and run before he dumps it off to a running back. That's just the nature of Jalen Hurts. I believe Kellen Moore will plan differently. I do believe the running back will not receive 70 receptions in the Philadelphia offense. Jolts says Hurts ain't top 10, Smitty. That's right, Jolts. That's correct. He's top 5. It's a good one. Jolts, you're learning. You're learning. Keep it up. Keep studying. You're going to get there. You'll get there with the right numbers. Top 5 you meant? It's okay. We understand, Jolts. Curious to know what you guys think. I believe Kellen Moore will be very apt to try and get somebody in to bring balance. I think Kellen Moore does want a balanced attack to a degree. Kellen Moore will be very, he'll have an aerial attack, a very potent top 5 to 7 passing offense is what he's going to try to develop. But I believe he will be very intrigued by a Saquon Barkley. Barkley in Philly probably doubles the reception totals that, let's say, Swift had last year. Ziggy, how many receptions did DeAndre Swift have in 2023?
In the 2023 season, DeAndre Swift had 39 receptions for 240.
Ziggy off. I can't guarantee he's right on that. He's been wrong on everything. I think Barkley, let's call Barkley a 50-plus reception running back in a Kellen Moore Philadelphia offense. Kellen Moore Philadelphia offense. So 50-plus receptions, which is good, which is fantastic. Ziggy, how many receiving yards did DeAndre Swift have in 2023? I don't know. He's going to be accurate.
In the 2023 season, DeAndre Swift had 39 receptions for 214
Ziggy
yards
off.
for the
Ziggy off. Sorry, I hit the wrong button there. Ziggy says 214. So call it 350 to 400 receiving yards. We'll call it about 55 receptions for Barkley in Philly. And we'll call it... Ziggy, how many rushing yards did DeAndre Swift have in 2023?
In the 2023 season, DeAndre Swift rushed for 1,049 yards for the Philadelphia
Ziggy off.
Eagles.
Ziggy off. That is... we got a National Weather Service report here. Amazon, read alert. Ziggy, read alert.
2 new notifications.
Ziggy off. Ziggy off. Whatever. It says National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Phoenix. It'll be in effect until March 7th, 6:45 p.m. Don't you hate when it's literally like it's going to be 6:45 p.m. in like 15 minutes? We have a severe weather alert for another 15, 20 minutes, and then it's over. Ridiculous. I would love to know what you guys think of Barkley in Philly. I'm going to say 1,200 rushing yards, 1,200 to 1,300 rushing yards, 300 to 350 receiving yards, 50-plus receptions, 12 total touchdowns, top 5 running back season for Saquon Barkley in Philadelphia if he was to go there to Saturn, essentially. That would be a fantastic year for Saquon Barkley. And those are like the bare bones numbers, you know what I mean? And then this other piece of news here, Russell Wilson is refuted. Remember what I said yesterday when I said that the Steelers were not interested in Russell Wilson according to a report? And I said, I don't buy the report. I said it last night on the show. Smoke season. Part of my job is to shoot down and give you my interpretation of some of these stupid rumors that are floating around. And this one in particular, I said, no. I don't believe that the Steelers are out on Russell Wilson. That's a stupid report. And I said it last night. And according to a Steelers beat writer, which I'm not saying he's right either, but he reports that the team has interest in signing Russell Wilson. So that's as of today. So, smoke season's crazy. And if we didn't need something else to keep our mind off stuff, I wanted to talk about this real quick, and say Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. I never thought 15 years ago I would see something like this. He's an older man, Mike Tyson, but he still, I think, is capable of beating Jake Paul. But what will be frustrating is if Jake Paul does win this because Mike Tyson's just too old. And then he's not doing any. Jake Paul is proving he's a boxer, I believe, but he's not proving anything until he fights an actual, in his prime, amazing boxer that is near his weight level. So he's always chasing this like disadvantaged situation and exploiting it and doing well for the most part. But I hope that Mike Tyson knocks him the hell out. I would love for Mike Tyson to one punch land one on Jake Paul and Jake Paul be out, lights out, and not wake up for a day. That would be fun. Dial in. Saquon Barkley to the Eagle rumors heating up, and no one's got any confirmation on this. This is smoke season. So if you have a problem with smoke and rumors and breaking down rumors and playing the what if game and talking about if the rumor was true, what do we think of it? If you have a problem with that, why are you watching? Because that is what we do and will continue to do. So if you have a problem with it, you're going to continue to have a problem with it because I ain't stopping anytime soon. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. All right, so this sucker's full of water. This is 64 ounces, did I say? 64 ounces. I'm going to try and drink this by the end of tonight. I don't drink this much water ever, but I'm starting to try and turn over a new leaf. And here we go. Let's go. Chug. That's about a fifth or a sixth of that right there. That's doable. Kenobi says Saquon top 5 numbers when healthy with the Giants, but the Giants are definitely in the cards. He could return there. This is where players do not know what's good for him. Kenobi, I would say this is probably one of the worst landing spots. Back in New York is probably the worst landing spot of all of the landing spots that are in play. The worst one. The worst one. I love you, Kenobi, and I'm not saying you're saying any different. And is he capable of top 5 numbers in New York if they draft, let's say, Penix Jr. or they do something surprising? Sure. Or let's say they take Neighbors at this number, 6 overall. Danny Dimes, Neighbors, you're going to get a quarterback next year. Okay? So Danny Dimes, Neighbors, Saquon. Could Saquon have top 5 numbers? It's possible. It's possible. I'm not saying that it's a garbage spot, but it's the worst spot of them all. He'd be far better off going to one of these other locations, Houston, LAC, Dallas, or Baltimore, or even Philly. And Philly's been on my screen the entirety of this whole process. 804 caller, you're live. Who is this and where are you calling from?
My name is Brandon Grandison, and I'm calling from Richmond, Virginia.
Brandon from Virginia. What's up, my guy? What can I do for you?
Yes. I think some people have to realize, too, in regard to Saquon Barkley, that he has some connections in Pennsylvania when he was going to school at Penn State. So that's a possibility, too, as well, that, he might have some type of connections out there that, Philadelphia is looking at as well.
Yeah, he could. Sometimes those weigh in, sometimes they don't. I think ultimately for him, this is the way I would look at it, bro. If it was me, I'd be like, I am a running back. I am a disrespected position, and I've got a window that is short. I could care less where I live. Like, this is a 2 to 3 year window of time. I better go get that bag so I can go live wherever the hell I want. But there's also a market, too. Like in New York, what's the market for him? Outside of football, commercials, sales, so there is some of that. Some players can make more in the market space outside of their salary, just in their market, than they do with the actual salary. So he's got to look at all that stuff too. But Dallas would be good for that. Philly, I imagine, isn't horrible. But New York Giants is the only reason I think that could be considered. But I don't even know how much he does outside of football in terms of sponsorships and ads and affiliates and advertising and such. I don't really know what his bottom line is on that. But I do know that if he's trying to get a bag, New York might be the one to pay him the most right now, because I think these teams are going to give him what sounds like, everything I'm hearing, is a 10 to 11, maybe $12 million a year salary. And New York is probably looking at a 12, 13 million dollar a year salary.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Anything else, pal?
That's about it. It was good talking to you.
All right, Brandon. Hey, call in anytime. Phone line's open. Even if you have something else today, call back in. All right, later.
All right, I definitely will. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
JP. Let's see here. JP and Travis, call back in. I don't know what's going on with the phone line. JP and Travis, call back in. I saw you both calling, and it wouldn't let me add you for whatever weird reason. Phone line is right here. Dial in, dial in, dial in. I think he was right. There's going to be some sway, like locational wise, that's going to make him, whether he's got family ties, whether he's got connections here or there that can make him go one direction or another. When players are wanting to move, there's a lot of reasons to get excited, especially when a player is unhappy in their franchise tag, then they see all these other people getting these fat deals, getting taken care of. Sometimes it's about like a team having open arms and just looking like they appreciate the player. What's going on, JP, a.k.a. Karen from Missouri? What's up, Karen?
A.k.a. Karen. They only love me for my Smith juice. Woo!
You're what? Bro, it's a family show. What? Karen, go ahead, Karen. What's up?
I was just calling to say what up. It's been a minute, so just calling to say hi. That's it. Saw you were live. I was like, I gotta call my dude real quick.
Right.
I don't even know what the show's about today.
Jeez, Karen.
So if you got any questions for me, I'm here to answer.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. We're very, very eager to get your opinion. Okay, Karen, let me start off with you real quick and just say, Philadelphia Eagle rumor, Saquon Barkley, like the landing spot or don't like the landing spot, if it was to happen.
Oh, man. I mean, that would be solid, wouldn't it?
You tell me, Karen.
Honestly, where would they be weak at after that? I mean, if you get Barkley, and then say you get like a number 3, like Xavier or something like that, or just a nice slot guy, even Washington or something like that out of the draft. I mean, what's going to stop that offense?
Nothing. That's why I continue to say that Jalen Hurts is like, it's hilarious when people think he's not a top 5 quarterback. If anybody says that Jalen Hurts is not a top, let me put it this way. I don't want to be insulting to anybody. If someone has a top 5 quarterbacks that don't have Jalen Hurts and they have good reason, you say Burrow's in there and like you take Hurts, like I could understand that. Like I'm not saying I necessarily agree. If I was starting a franchise today, Hurts would be in the top 5 or 6 picks overall. If you got no roster and you're trying to develop a team around a quarterback, he's just a winner. He's the ball in his hands. He can bring you back from any sort of deficit. He's an unbelievable quarterback. But I can understand if somebody's like, hey, let me order these guys a little different and put them 6 or 7 because I got Burrow slipping in there. CJ Stroud's already in there for me, Smitty, Mahomes, Josh Allen. You've got this like long list of elite, very close quarterbacks. I could get behind that. But if you tell me Jalen Hurts is not a top 10 NFL quarterback, and he's in my 5, but if you tell me he's not in your top 10, you're literally saying you don't know football. You don't know football. You just don't. Or you're so blinded by your fandom. You've got goggles on this thick for an opposing team, a rival team, that you just don't see straight. And we at least understand that because you're blinded by the fandom. But if you think Jalen Hurts is not a top 10 quarterback outside of that, you just don't know football, and that's okay too. Like, we can walk you through it, we can help you, we can tell you what you should be doing with your fantasy team, but I don't know that you should be making decisions on your own at this point. You should have training wheels on. Somebody should be holding your hand if you don't think Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. It's in the NFL. Not talking fantasy in the NFL. You got some
NFL and
problems.
fantasy, and I'll tell you what, and I'll tell you the number one reason why people don't think that, in my opinion, is because, 2 years ago they had people just dropping him in free agency, and then he started to be hot stuff, and everybody wanted him. And then when everybody wanted him, he was a top 5 quarterback. But then off-season came, and then the Eagles said, we're going to do the run game, and we're going to be running and running. And, Jalen Hurts got hurt the year before, and I understand. It's like, well, if you can get past the game just running and you don't have to even throw the ball, I get it. Just do that. I mean, at least you get to the playoffs and everybody's healthy.
Cool story, Karen.
And
Karen, all right. Hey, Karen, let me ask you one more thing.
I'll let you go, my
No, you're good. I got one more question for you. How many rushing yards does Barkley have on the ground in Philly in 2024? How many rushing yards?
1,177.
How many touchdowns on the ground?
We're going to say at least 11.
Okay, how many receiving yards?
At least 500.
And how many receptions?
Receptions, we're going to roll with. They're not going to need them that much for receptions. They're going to be winning a lot.
We got
So I'm
500.
going to say like 60.
Okay.
65
Hey, that's
plus.
good. That's used a lot. That's a lot. All right, thanks, Karen. Appreciate you. Call back
that's a
if
lot,
you got.
Barkley, that's not a lot.
Yeah, call back if you got another question. We appreciate you, Karen.
You're the man. Have a good one.
Later. Travis, you're live.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Yeah, I agree. I think Barkley would have. I'd say he could have like 1,400 on the ground with 10 or 12 touchdowns. And, I was going to ask, how much does Kellen Moore throw to his running backs? I know Pollard got a decent amount of catches when Kellen Moore was there, but just because in the past the Eagles haven't thrown to their running backs a lot. And they had guys who could catch too, Sanders and Swift. So.
Yeah, I think again what it is you kind of look at it like this. You say to yourself, okay, so here's the piece of the pie. So this would be the pie of running backs getting receptions in Philly. And so you'd have like this amount being Hurts' decision to tuck and run and not throw. So a lot of this is going to be on Jalen Hurts. He doesn't have a natural instinct to dump off to his RB. Would that change with Barkley? Maybe. So the impromptu part, he's like sitting here. Think of it this way. If you're Hurts, right? You got the football. You can either dump it off or you can just tuck it and run it yourself and say, I got this. I can take care of it. I don't think, while Swift was an elite pass catcher to some people, like in the making at least, he wasn't proven elite, but he had the makings of being one of the better receiving backs in the National Football League. And the Detroit Lions didn't utilize that. And then the Eagles didn't even utilize that. Some might blame it on Swift, but I think he's just a victim of two different things that weren't really Swift's fault. But when you have this big component here of this piece of pie of receptions for running backs being Hurts impromptuing and not, checking down, that eliminates your opportunities, right? Then you have, this amount here is just coaching and Sirianni saying, or OC, whatever, whoever's making the call to be like, hey, this is what we're doing here. This is how we're gonna. Then it's like it's all up to, if this is not a design play for the RB, it has to fall back on Hurts. There's very little left. The design plays. I think that Kellen Moore is going to carve out more design plays for the RB. Hurts is still going to make his decisions, but maybe he trusts Barkley more. But I think it's just ultimately like there's not enough of those set plays that guarantee this amount of receptions for the RB. So I think that changes with Kellen Moore. I don't know how much, because Hurts still gets to impromptu a lot of stuff, but I think it does definitely increase, especially when you get the ball to Barkley and Hurts can finally say to himself, hey, if I get the ball in the hands of Barkley, it actually might get more yards than if I tuck it and run it myself. Like once he starts trusting the option that, that is the running back, then he's going to potentially decide that that's better, but his decision is always like, it's better for me to run it. It's more convenient, more effective, more for sure. I'm going to keep the ball in my hands. But he's also running a ton. He's also going to get older every year, and he might say to himself, I'm going to salvage my body, and let me just give it to Barkley. Barkley's amazing. 480 caller, you're live. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, my name's Donnie from Arizona.
Donnie. What's up, Donnie?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, man?
Good. I'm going to go back to Travis after. I'll answer your question real quick. What's up, Donnie?
All right, bro. Yeah, I was just watching the show, and I think Saquon Barkley is a good, a good running back. And he would do very well in Philadelphia. He's got a lot of skill, and just gonna keep this real short right now. But yeah, man, I like the idea. I think that they're. I just read it on Google. That they're pretty serious about it. So, yeah, man, I just think it'd be pretty nice.
Are you an Eagle fan, Donnie? Donnie?
Yeah, I think that, what is it, Swift and Saquon, they're real elusive, and they're just really good running backs. I think Howie Roseman's going to make that move,
Yeah, well, Swift is gone unless they bring him back, but yeah, so they're looking for a replacement.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Barkley.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Swift and Saquon are like those elusive backs, and of course you got those bruiser backs, But yeah, man, with Saquon in that offense, they'd be both, very.
I like
deadly,
it. How many top 5,
Definitely.
top 7, top 4? Give me a Philadelphia Eagle landing spot for Barkley. Put some 2024 running backs. Top what?
Top 3.
All right,
top
there
3
you go.
for
You
sure,
heard it from
man.
Donnie. You heard it from Donnie.
All right, man, you take it easy, bro.
All right, Donnie, call in anytime. All right, Travis, what else you got, Travis?
Yeah, like you're saying, with Hurts as he gets older and, live to see another day type of place. Barkley will be used a lot more on the goal line, than I think they used Swift this year. And that's a whole nother, opens up a lot more plays in the red zone for them, too. I was going to say about Swift that I almost wonder if, Barkley ends up Philly or Houston or something. I wonder if the Ravens would take a shot at Swift. He kind of fits their style of play.
Maybe. The only reason why I'd say no, I'm not saying no.
They did say they want someone with more pedigree.
I think they probably feel like Keaton Mitchell, even though he's coming off an ACL tear, he's probably already
similar.
Yeah, and I know that Swift was used like a power back in Philly, which was a mistake, really. It's just a matter of, like, they don't throw to their running backs. They're just like, hey, Swift, I know you're a 50-50 half reception, half running back type. You're an Alvin Kamara. You're a Christian McCaffrey type of workload divide. Not saying he's McCaffrey good. I'm just saying the divide. But we're going to just go ahead and ask you to do 100 or 95% running. And he did it, and he stayed healthy. Like Swift, if anybody earned a second chance, or you could say this is a third chance, it should be freaking Swift. Like Swift, I mean, that was a great year Swift had. Stayed healthy, I don't think you're wrong. I think he could for sure end up somewhere like that. But I do believe that if they're going to spend money on an RB, they want a bruising between the tackle, Jacobs, Henry,
I think
or
you're
Barkley.
probably right.
And then
I
keep
think
Mitchell.
you're right with a more established guy. I just wasn't sure if they didn't end up with a guy like that, if they just roll with Gus Edwards and bring in a guy like Swift, or they could bring in anybody, and just go with a committee.
I mean, they might, but with three,
one of these guys.
But with 3 options of Barkley, Henry, Jacobs, and being probably one of the top 3 running back destinations, then I do believe that Baltimore will land one of the 3. Like, I believe that, as I've said before, 100,000 times probably already, Barkley, Henry, Jacobs, 2 of these 3 guys will land in at least 2 of these spots: Baltimore, Dallas, Houston, Chargers. I think we'll see at least two of these guys in one of these four spots, meaning we won't see them anywhere over here. We'll see maybe one of them goes to Philly, maybe one goes to Cincy. I think Eckler goes to Cincy, just based on what I heard last year, all this buzz and near confirmation he was getting traded to Cincinnati. It was like so close, and it was mutual. And I believe the Bengals getting rid of Mixon and being like in a position to be like, we can still stopgap fill this spot. You'd wonder why wouldn't they just bring Mixon back if they were going to roll with an older player, but I think they probably wanted to see if they can get one elite year out of Eckler, and maybe he does deliver one really electric, partially injured year. But he wanted to go there. Cincinnati wanted him. They almost made a trade. Buffalo is the curious case because they're like, if I was in charge in Buffalo, I would bring in one of these three running backs without a hesitation. I would not stop. I would not sleep. I would not rest until one of these RBs was on my roster to give Josh Allen more room and space to navigate and become the best that he can be. It's really Buffalo's fault that Josh Allen hasn't won a Super Bowl. It's not Josh Allen's fault.
Yeah,
it's like the deck is always stacked against Josh Allen. It always is. And everybody says it's him. He's, it reminds me of Dan Marino. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl, and it wasn't Dan Marino's fault. He did the best he could every single time, and he almost carried that team on his back every single year. He did carry them on their back. Josh Allen feels like he's playing with half a deck every year, and it's like it's as clear as day. You go get a Derrick Henry, a Barkley, a Jacobs, and all of a sudden you have Josh Allen having so much more capability to do so many different things instead of watching defenses just be like, let's try and get to this guy. We know they're not going to tear us up with the run. And anytime they have run well, and they did about 2 years ago during that playoff run, I think it was the Kansas City Chiefs Buffalo shootout year where it was that one game where it was back and forth. And it was that year leading into that game, they were a well-balanced run for a while, a real well-balanced offense, and they were unstoppable. Like, if anybody remembers back to that season, the Buffalo Bills were thought to be just the most polished team offensively in the National Football League because they finally had balance. But for whatever reason, they're not going after probably one of these three guys. I don't get it. They're the team that should be doing it the most. Dallas needs one of them. Dallas failed to implement a Tony Pollard type of rusher in their offense. I blame it partially on Pollard. I blame it partially on Dallas. I blame it on both of them. But you clearly want to ground and pound the football, and you've got three bruising backs right here. If Dallas doesn't end up with one of them, I'll be shocked. I'll be dumbfounded. I feel like Baltimore as well, and I feel like these two teams could go in any direction. It's hard to know. I think Houston. If I had to say these three guys fill three spots, it's Houston, Dallas, Baltimore. And LAC takes Blake Corum. That's kind of just my vibe. Or they bring back Eckler and then they bring in Blake Corum. Like something like that. But Houston, Dallas, Baltimore for these three running backs and anyone going to each team, I don't know for sure. I think Dallas for Barkley or Henry would be great. Baltimore for Barkley or Henry would be great. Josh Jacobs in either of those spots would be great. Houston would be great. They're all three very, very good. They're the three best landing spots in football for RBs. I don't see how they don't go after them. But logic doesn't play into it.
I think with Swift, I think a fan base will be pleasantly surprised, whoever ends up with Swift. People think of him as this like tiny guy because he's been using the passer, and I think he's good being more dynamic, catching balls and running in, catching out of the backfield and stuff. But he's only 5'9", but he's 215 pounds. That's not a small back. Yeah. I think people underrate him.
If I had to guess, let me put my prediction on the board here. This is my prediction. I think this is what ends up happening, and I'll leave it on here so that everybody knows this is what I said, and I could be wrong. I'm going to say Jacobs to Baltimore,
I like that.
I'm gonna say Henry to Dallas, Barkley to Houston. I just think these are the best fits for these
that'd
teams.
Be awesome.
I think these are the best chances that these guys have to get the most out of their value. The reason Henry's so good in Dallas because I just think he think of it this way. Henry's going to get the touchdown production. He's going to get the field position. He's going to live in the red zone. This guy could have 955 to 1,000 yards even, miss 2 or 3 or 4 games, and still have 12 rushing touchdowns and punch it in time and time again. Dallas needs the ground and pound runner. Baltimore feels very Jacobs-like. I feel like he's a gritty back.
Mm-hmm.
They want somebody that's just going to just be abusive, to defenders. And I think Henry is getting too old to maybe withstand some of that. But I think in Dallas, for whatever reason, he's going to have a smoother time punching in touchdowns and just being effective in an attack that is so, vertical. Like, they're always the top 5 arsenal. Top 5. Henry's going to have open rushing lanes. In Baltimore, it's ground and pound. It's abusive. I don't know that Henry holds up in Baltimore like he would in Dallas. Barkley taking on the role that we just saw Devin Singletary excel in. I think it's going to be like watching Singletary last year times 5. Like, these are the best landing spots for these 3 guys. And if, again, logic does not always play into it, I think that, and then I'm going to put Eckler over here. I'll put Eckler over here. I don't know if I'm going to be right on these. I'm not trying to be this isn't an accuracy contest. This is me saying best fit.
Right.
Eckler and Cincy, and then Blake Corum in LAC. Because Corum is doubted by so many people. I don't think because everybody knows Corum is coming to LAC,
Motion detected at the
I don't
front
think
door.
it's going to trigger anybody to take them early. Like, oh, let's block the Chargers. It's more like nobody's really feeling the vibe except for probably Harbaugh. This is how I feel it's going to go down.
I think
Or
whoever
should.
gets Henry needs to have a solid backup or needs to draft someone, like Tennessee did last year, just because I think Henry's got a decent amount left in the tank, but like we said, he's at that age, and you really saw at points last year he was hitting the wall, and it was just basically his size just powering through people as he got ahead of steam. I think he's going to have less and less, ability to miss tacklers rather than just run through them, which he can do because he's big enough. But
Yeah. All right, so to recap here. The best landing spots for the free agent running backs. Barkley in Houston, take on that Devin Singletary role times 5. Look like Devin Singletary did last year times 5. Henry to Dallas, open rushing lanes, ground and pound, but easier on the treads, easier on the tires than Baltimore would be. He'd have a 10-plus touchdown season, even missing a couple games. Baltimore needs somebody that is a little bit younger, ability to ground and pound and take the abuse that Baltimore's going to bestow upon them. And Jacobs fits very good there. Blake Corum gets drafted by Harbaugh, and Eckler goes to Cincinnati, where he was about to get traded to last season. That's my prediction for the running back, the free agent running backs in 2024. Well, and also the rookie Blake Corum. And then maybe Philly drafts a rookie. Buffalo probably doesn't do anything at running back again because they don't seem to value RBs. So their run game is a short pass game. That's their run game, and everybody thinks James Cook is the top 10 running back. Give me a break.
Braylon Allen.
Yeah, Braylon Allen to Philly would be interesting, but
in Buffalo, I was saying, if they ever decided to use the running back the right way, which they won't, but I think that's the type of back they need. Buffalo.
Yeah, they need balance, but I don't know if they'll deploy it. They need to get rid of Diggs. I don't know if they'll do it. You know. Let's go over to Marsman Rock Out. Marsman Rock Out, you are live, young man. What can we do for you?
Rock out.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I agree. Basically everything except for Henry to Dallas. I got it in reverse. I got Henry going to Baltimore. And
I can see that.
Jacobs going to Dallas.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I could really mix up Barkley, Henry, and Jacobs in a blender, and then but these three landing spots feel like the right ones for these three. It's just a matter of like musical chairs between these three spots. What else you got? Hey, what do you think about the topic at hand, though? Because really getting back to what the news is suggesting, that the
Philly.
Eagles are, Philly's heating up. Philly's heating up as a potential landing spot. What do you think about Philly and Barkley?
I mean, I would rather him in Houston, but he could probably do just as well with the Eagles and Hurt and read option.
I like it. I like him in Philly. I do. Part of me's like, okay, if he doesn't go to Philly, there's a chance he goes back to the Giants, and I want him in Philly over the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Giants are. I don't want anybody near the Giants situation. They've been failing Barkley for years. Why would anybody? Daddy Dennis, appreciate you. You know I do. But why would you want Jacobs? I mean, he's maybe just predicting it and doesn't want it. But why would you want anybody where they've continued to fail Saquon Barkley, and there's vulturing of touchdowns, there's bad play calls, there's not living near the red zone, there's another year of Danny Dimes. Like, why would you want to waste a year of Jacobs' life? You know what I mean? I hope that doesn't happen. Live on the phone is Joe. Joe, what do you say? What do you hear?
Well, I'm a Giants fan, so I really hope that Barkley doesn't go to Dallas or to Philly, and I don't think he will. Honestly, like if it came down to it, I think the Giants would match it. But if I had to pick, I think that he's going to go to Houston, and I hope he goes to Houston because I like that. The new quarterback with Tank Dell, and I just think there'll be a really good team around Barkley. I think Jacobs is going to go to Dallas, and I think Henry is going to actually go to Cincinnati with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and that trio over there.
Henry to the Bengals, huh?
Yes, sir.
What I mean, I don't know. I don't see it, but it would be crazy cool. But we'll see what they do.
I think Jacobs is going to get a deal from Dallas. I think they would want to go Henry, but if they could probably get Jacobs for a deal, and he's like a power back, like he's a red zone guy too. Even though Henry is really good, but I think Henry's going to team up with Joe Burrow. That would be big for Cincinnati to have a red zone threat like that.
It'd be interesting.
That'd be fun with Chase Brown in the backfield too. It'd be kind of similar to
they have that switch up back in Chase Brown.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I don't know if I see it. I don't know if I see it actually happening, but I could envision it and want it. I don't know if Cincy would do it. Where does Pollard end up? The reason I say that is I feel like Eckler's a little different because they wanted him. He wanted to go there. That trade almost went down. He's a little bit different back than everybody else. I think if they were going to go the direction of Henry, they may just keep mixing. But I don't know. Tough to say. Vampy says, where does Pollard end up, and does it matter? Pollard to Philly, Pollard to Buffalo, Pollard back to Dallas, even if they bring in somebody and put him back in his old, like, change of pace role and see if they can ignite something. I'll be honest, man. I'm really soured. I'm really soured on Pollard. He disappointed me greatly. I was very much on board. I don't know that it was the injury necessarily. It probably had something to do with it, but the fact that that touchdown, that it was a give me touchdown, just absolute free touchdown, and he cut back toward the middle of he was on the 2-yard line. All he had to do was just walk in, and for some reason he cut back inside, and did not score a touchdown. It was like this close, but like, what was he thinking? And like, I just can't get past the fact that like he had such a bad year. It wasn't just situation. It wasn't just bad dialed up carries and bad usage. Like, he crapped the bed hard. And I'm excited about him getting another chance, but I don't know that I'm going to be on board unless he's free, and that sucks. But like, if he went to, let's say, Philly and it kind of replaced Swift, I don't know. It seems like he's not built for what they want to, how they want to use a back though. So Philly probably won't look at him as a ground and pound back. And I can't believe they used Swift that way and he stayed healthy. He did. Buffalo, it would be interesting. Other landing spots. I guess Green Bay's losing
Raiders.
A.J. Dillon. Raiders have Zamir White, but that's maybe not enough to ignore the position, so they could bring him in. That's true. Let's see here. LAC, it depends what they do. Arizona.
Arizona still has Connor, right?
Yeah, I could see them, Arizona, going that way, though. They always bring in...
Giants might need a running back.
Yeah, Baltimore, if they don't, let's say, land one of those big dogs, but I think they will. Buffalo.
Minnesota's up in the air. They have Chandler, but they let go of Madison.
Yeah, I don't think the market's going to be there for him. I don't know that he's going to get a starting job. I think he has to go back.
I don't think he is.
I think he has to go back to Dallas and on a cheap deal just because he knows they'll use him. I don't know. He didn't earn a job. Yeah, I don't know. Tough to say. Hoosier says, I'm going to be honest, Smitty. I'm not digging all these Saquon titles for the videos the last couple of days. Why, Hoosiers? What's wrong with them? Do tell. Yeah, tough to say. Tough to say. Somebody has a problem with everything, Hoosiers. No offense, but what do you have a problem with the fact that this is a widespread piece of news? I feel like I'm arguing this every single time I go live on anything. What do you people want? Then when I say you people, I mean the negative Nancy's. Hoosiers, I know you're not normally negative, and I love you, pal. But like, what do the negative Nancy's want? What do you want me to do? Not go live? Not talk about something that's widespread, whether you think it's going to come true or not? What do you really want?
He's a Giants fan, he says.
Oh. So he's more so having a problem with he wants Giants to keep Barkley. I got you. All right. I'm not mad at Hoosiers then.
I'd actually argue that.
Sorry, Hoosiers.
I'd argue that the Giants. No, I know he's a good player and he sells tickets and jerseys, but I'd argue that the Giants need to just rebuild and they should start as soon as they can.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be part of the future if you rebuild.
Signing Danny Dimes. They should have did that the other way around.
Yeah, Barkley should have been kept up. Yeah, the fact that you keep Danny Dimes, not Barkley, like, imagine what they could have done.
I mean, I know why they did it. They did it because all these quarterbacks were getting paid and they thought they were going to get a deal. But the problem is that he's not good. So
I don't get Dayball. Did Dayball really think he was going to turn him around, or was it an ownership thing? I would have thought Dayball would have wanted someone better, like to start fresh with. It's odd to me.
The last thing I want is to see Saquon Barkley in a stupid Eagles jersey, sad face. Okay. Hoosiers, I guess I didn't know what you were saying it for, though. You know, you're like, I got to be honest, Smitty, I don't like these titles. Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But you're saying, I guess Hoosiers is saying it from a Giants fan perspective. He doesn't want Barkley in these new uniforms and doesn't like these conversations. Well, you could have said that in your first message, Hoosiers. But I appreciate you. I'm not mad at you. I just, you got to understand from my perspective, I'm constantly being told I shouldn't be live on a topic. Like, what do you want? Why are you here? Not you. Not you, Hoosiers, but like negative Noah. Why are you here?
They're here because they want you to tell them to take a lap.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think people love. But it's amazing how many people are like, you shouldn't go live until it's done. Okay, don't watch my show then, because we come in to talk about every speculative piece that is widespread. And we will continue to, and I'll do it more. I'm going to go live more now on this stuff.
That's why we're ahead of the curve on this channel.
Joe Milton to the New York Giants. Maybe. I mean, Milton's pretty intriguing. I think we got to be careful not to. He's like a party trick. We got to be careful not to get too excited about him. But his film ain't bad. Like everyone was saying, he's got no film and he's just throwing the ball, further than anybody at the combine. But like you look at it, he's pretty decent. He's not bad. Joe Milton ain't some scrub. But I don't know if he'll be an elite quarterback, but I think he's a fun project for any team. Like if you get, like let's say you're the Giants, and you don't swing big at a QB at 10 and do what I would do. I could care less what anybody thinks. I'd take Penix Jr. and put him behind A-Rod for a year. I don't want him sitting, but I also am going to start A-Rod. But I would make sure I am protected and ready to go for the future, given the amount of talent on this team. Joe, appreciate you joining. Joe left. Joe, thanks for calling in. I would say that if the New York Jets failed to get bold and take a quarterback early, like a Joe Milton would be pretty good in New York. I wouldn't mind that. I think that'd be good. Saquon goes to Philly. He can take a lap around New York, New Jersey, and never step foot in our state ever again, says Hoosiers. He's going to go where they're going to pay him, though, Hoosiers. And I know the Giants offered him probably more money than he's going to get elsewhere, which is my fear that he goes back to the Giants, because I don't want him going back to the Giants, Hoosiers. I don't. But if he does not go back, I mean, I'm not going to blame him. He's going to get the bag. Anything else, fellas?
Yeah, just we were talking about it yesterday a little bit with what the Patriots are going to do, and starting to bother me and starting to make me worry a little how much I hear about draft someone and sit them for a year or two behind a bridge quarterback, and it's just driving me nuts.
Yeah, I hate this year.
I don't think that's the way, and no, that might not be the team saying it either. Like it could just be the people on the radio and reporters, because like it's smoke season, like you said, so there's something different all the time, but it worries me a little bit.
And keep in mind that what somebody says and what you do when somebody's struggling because they're looking over their shoulder, Danny Dimes is going to fold like a chair, and it doesn't matter what anybody's intentions are, they're going to plug him in by week 4. So I wouldn't even worry about that. That's ridiculous talk too, because quarterbacks are coming in ready-made, and if you spend a top 15 pick on a quarterback in the NFL draft, you better start him right away, or except for the New York Jets, because that's a very unique situation. Knicks to the Giants in the second. Knicks is going in the top 12 overall. Hovgees. Knicks to the Giants in the second. Man, if you get Knicks in the second, that's like one of those fantasy drafts where people would be like in the second round and they're like, Christian McCaffrey still available? I wonder if a team's ever tried to draft somebody who's already been taken. And they walk up to the podium, we're gonna take Bo Nix. He went at number 8 overall. Haji, my guy. I love Haji. That was funny. Bo Nix in the second round. Hey man, we've seen crazier things happen. You know, people have fallen before, but I mean that would be a fall from grace.
This year, I bet.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. You never know. I mean, all he has to do is slip past a certain territory, right? It's like it's one of those things where it steamrolls. Yeah. It's like, oh, they should take a quarterback. They don't. Oh my God! And then the next team needs a quarterback. They've already got Fields, let's say. And then you keep going down, and Minnesota resigns Cousins, right? Then you got Denver. Denver goes to J.J. McCarthy. Let's say he's off the board. He fell that far. LV rolls with O'Connell. New Orleans rolls with Derek Carr. Indy, obviously, no. Geno, they roll with Geno. Then you get to this territory, and all of a sudden, Bo Nix is on the board. He could free fall all the way to the second round, and then joke's on me. But he's very much, increasing his draft stock a lot. So, but that was funny. Perps with the 20 gifted memberships. Perps to the moon. Perps, hold on. You activated the case, the money case. Perps to the moon.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Perps activated the money case. Anything over $100 or I forget what the 20 gifted memberships equals, but it's worth it to me because this is pro community here when you drop something like that. Perps to the moon. Please thank Perps if you got a gifted membership. Doing it live. Perps. All right. Anything else, boys?
Who would you, if you had to take a guess, it's just blind, I guess, but educated guess on which quarterback is most likely to fall out of, I guess, the top three, and then Penix, McCarthy, and Nix.
Woo! Probably.
Am I missing someone?
Probably Penix. Probably. Look, logic.
I want to say
JJ.
McCarthy, but there's so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that too, but I wonder how much of it is when it really comes down to it, if a team will be willing to take him that high.
Everybody thanks Perps.
You'll have to see his pro day.
Yeah, thanks Perps with a eggplant emoji, a fire emoji, a handshake emoji, a thumb up emoji, whatever you can to express your gratitude if you've got a gifted membership or ever have in the past by Perps. He just dropped 20. I don't know why this thing doesn't alert me anymore when I get a freaking... I gotta try and activate the thing that shows everything right here. We got Spaceman that dance around whenever we get an emoji. Or, a gifted membership. If I had to guess, I would say... So logic would tell me that J.J. McCarthy would fall. But he, like you said, he's getting hyped up. I don't know why. I don't agree. I don't see an elite player in this kid. I see a good quarterback. I see somebody that could be maybe Goff good. Like, that's good. That's a good quarterback. That's a guy that's dancing in the 5 to 12 sometimes. There's nothing wrong with Goff. I don't think that's disrespectful, but do I see a top 5 or 6 quarterback in this kid? No. Penix Jr. had such a good combine. I think he moved above Bo Nix probably in most people's eyes. If anybody falls, it's probably Bo Nix a little bit. So to Habji's point, is it possible?
Dream, like you said.
The right players get the wrong players, the right players, however you want to look at it, get drafted in the right spots, and these QB needy teams fill the vacancy with a Fields or a Cousins or Russell Wilson, and then the other teams that need quarterbacks just shock us and go in a different direction. Because the teams that kind of need quarterbacks might be okay with quarterback. You know what I mean? Like you look at LV, New Orleans, and Seattle. They have quarterbacks, but they may not take them. I don't know.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see the teams that or even teams that need a quarterback that just don't take the guy when he's there, sitting there for him, and then, fill another need instead.
Hob G says, I'd trade back if I was the Finns GM. You know what I would do, Hob G? And I don't necessarily disagree with what he's saying at this spot, but what I would do is, personally, I would trade up and get a quarterback, but they love Tua.
Mm-hmm.
But I want Bo Nix or Penix Jr. if I'm Miami. Or I bring in, I bring in Fields. I trade for Justin Fields.
Yep.
That's me. I don't understand Tua Tagovailoa. I don't get why this coach thinks he's going to be the guy. Yeah, Knicks to Atlanta at 8 would be great. Atlanta's got 8, not 6, but yeah, they be Knicks to Atlanta at 8, Penix Jr. to Atlanta at 8. Those would be fantastic. Knicks
membership message.
Knicks equals Bo Nix equals what are you saying? Bo Nix equals Levis? No.
Levis.
I mean, you never know, but I don't think so. 10-month membership. Smitty, you are the best. I would hire you as my GM. Thank you, Kenobi. Thank you. Appreciate you. I'm turning down all offers, though. I like where I'm at. I like what I do.
Do you think...
I slept in today until 2 p.m. because I haven't slept very much at all, and I don't have anybody to answer to. No one was... The only one disappointed was Miss Smitty when she walked in and I was still sleeping. I said, I'm my own boss. Close your door on the way out. But... I can't work for anybody. My hours are so crazy. I'll sleep like 2 or 3 hours in one day, 2 or 3 hours in one day, and then I'll come in on a Friday and be like, I got no news. I'm sleeping for 10 straight hours, and that's the way I operate. Nice little nap here or there. I'm starting to really like the hour nap. I'm really starting to like it. Keep my phone right on my chest. It vibrates every once in a while, and I look at it, and that's not good news. Oh, and I'm sitting on that's not good news. Smitty with the 1 hour nap, power nap. That's all I need. Smitty wants CEH in Cincinnati. I don't know that I necessarily want it. I don't mind it. I'd like to see it happen, just to see what happens, but I think it could happen more so than I want it. I think it's something that Joe Burrow is going to request. Miami Mike and Herbert is magic. That's what I say, bro. I keep saying it. Why doesn't if Harbaugh is telling the truth and he loves J.J. McCarthy so much, if everybody else loves J.J. McCarthy so much, then guess what, Harbaugh? You'd have a lot of teams like Minnesota that would be happy to take Herbert off your hands, send him to Minnesota for the 11 pick, draft your golden boy J.J. McCarthy at 5, and take a wide receiver or Brock Bowers at 11, whatever you can get your hands on, and go build your own little thing, rather than do what Sean Payton did, take over a team he kind of liked, but it wasn't his. And I'm not saying Herbert's Russell Wilson, but I don't know. Are we? Can we? As funny as that sounds right now to say, oh come on, don't call Herbert Russell Wilson. Before Russell Wilson went to Denver, did anybody feel the way they feel about Russell Wilson right now back then? No. Like, Russell Wilson was highly touted. Like, he was a top 5 or 6. Dare I say he had more value or equal value to the value Herbert has right now in everybody's mind? Like, can you guys honestly reflect back and not act like you know everything now and you didn't feel it this way the entire time? When Russell Wilson went to Denver, I believe, if you guys are being honest with yourselves, you viewed Russell Wilson as good as you view currently Herbert.
Well, considering that what he got and what they got in the trade for him, I mean, I think Herbert would probably go for a couple first rounders, if not 3, right now. So it is similar.
Yeah, I mean, Russ went for 2.
Wilson had more of a track record.
Yeah, Russ went for 2 first rounders.
Okay, yeah, I think Herbert would get that.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Yeah, things change fast.
I don't know. I venture to say people will not be honest in the recollection of how good they thought Russell Wilson was. I think people are going to be like, no, I didn't like him. He wasn't good. He was as good as Herbert is right now in everyone's mind before he stepped foot in Denver. So much so the Denver Broncos said, give us Russ over Aaron Rodgers. Remember? Because Aaron Rodgers thought he was going to Denver. Thank God he didn't. Although I don't know that. Maybe it would have been a whole different thing.
That's how Hackett ended up there. We're pretty sure, right?
Yeah. Yep. Same thing happened in New York. Like, hey, first of all, what's Hackett got on Aaron Rodgers? Because he's not a good coach or anything. He's a Hackett job.
Is it just that he's like a yes man? He'll call the plays that Rodgers wants.
I mean, Rodgers is like the coach. I mean, Salah looks like he's scared to death of him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope Aaron Rodgers has a really good year. I really hope he doesn't drop off. I'm really excited. I was so excited about him last year, but I just want the Jets to be smart and not put it all on Aaron Rodgers and he gets hurt again, and then we got everybody just going down the drain. To have Breece Hall have a top 4 running back season with a very slow unleashing because of the ACL recovery, very, very sporadic offensive line and sporadic offense, that just gave him no consistency. For Breece Hall to be a top 4 running back in fantasy football, I can only imagine what he'll do with an amazing quarterback play all year long.
Yeah, that development was big.
Yeah. All right, Travis, appreciate your rock out. You got anything else, bro?
Yeah. What move you think the Lions can make to get a more true wide receiver too?
I think they got one. I think Jameson Williams is very much a wide receiver too.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have a breakout year.
Yep. I agree.
I think Jameson's fantastic.
What do you think his stat line will be this year?
The biggest what?
What do you think his stat line will be?
1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
65, 70 receptions, maybe.
Yeah, because he won't be able to go crazy because of Laporta and St. Brown, but I think he's going to be a really big part of that.
Yeah, that's 58 yards a game. 1,000 yards even, 6 touchdowns, 65 receptions. Very good wide receiver 2 season, given all the mouths to feed, like Travis just said. But he's a really good, and they've already said we want to make him take the leap to be the starter this year. He's going to be a starter. I really like Jameson Williams.
Saw some flashes of it as the season went on last year. He can
a good catch and run against the 49ers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, boys.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
We'll see you tonight on Dynasty.
Dynasty, nice.
Yeah. All right. Later, boys. Later. All right, we're wrapping it up here. How many people we got in the building? 108. 75 thumbs up ain't bad, but if we could get that number above 100, I'd appreciate it. We'll be live on the Dynasty channel tonight. The Dynasty show is youtube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football. You're watching youtube.com/The Fantasy Football Show. Don't forget to follow me on Rumble as well, rumble.com/The Fantasy Football Show. All 3 links are in the description of this video and every video. But we'll be live on Dynasty tonight. I don't know what the topic will be. We're not necessarily leaving quite yet. I'm still reading some comments. Appreciate everybody in the building here tonight. First in the building tonight was who? Who was here first and foremost? It was, I think it was Young. Young was first in the building. Sam, then Hector, then I think where you been? Travis, Space Ricky, 2 moderators coming in strong. The Isaac, appreciate you. Where have you been? Brandon, Joe Vang, Lupo, Bill the Tickler. Appreciate all of you guys filing in and being first in the building notification gang. Barkley to Philly heating up. Nothing can be done or announced or locked in or cemented in. So everybody calm down. It's all rumors. It's going to be all rumors. We're going to have a very long March and April in terms of rumors, okay? And we're going to be here for every one of them that is significant, that needs an explanation, that needs me to determine whether I believe, whether you care what I think or not. Doesn't matter, right? You're watching the show. You clearly do or you don't. I'm going to give you my take on every big, substantial rumor that comes my way, that I deem warranted enough to have a conversation about. It's not smoke. It's not for clicks. There are 100,000 different rumors all over the place. Some of them feel more worthy than others. But when you see as many graphics on screen as I put up, and those were just 4 or 5 of 50 that I could locate in that exact moment, I'm going to go live on it. And I'm going to tell you yay or nay on the rumor. On that note, I'll see you all tonight on the Dynasty channel. Here's the link to the Dynasty show. Make sure you are subscribed and doing it live. Here it is, Dynasty link. Boom. Click it. Be subbed up. Also don't forget my channel that's called The Fantasy Football Intern. Episode 1 is up. You guys may have seen it when I dropped it on the main channel, but please give it a view. Episode 1 called The Fantasy Football Intern sitcom. Episode 1, the pilot. It's a sitcom. It's like The League. And make sure you go watch it. It's The Fantasy Football Intern. YouTube.com/The Fantasy Football Intern. Let me drop that link. Sitcom channel. Please subscribe to it. We'll be dropping maybe 8 to 12 episodes a year of this sitcom. YouTube.com/@The Fantasy Football Intern. Can somebody click on this and tell me if that link is right? I think I typed it in right. Click that link and tell me if it's correct. But please subscribe to that channel. It is a sitcom. It's a sitcom. A real sitcom that your boy produced, created, and hopefully there's every season. This will be season 1. I'm going to finish it up. And it looks like we got some people subscribing to it already. Thank you right now. Appreciate you. Let's get this bad boy up. Let's spread the word. Let's spread this humorous show around the world. Was that link correct? Fly, Eagles fly on the road to Saquon, says Joe. Hopefully, yeah, it's right. Thank you, Superfish, for confirming. Go watch that if you haven't seen it. The sitcom's amazing. And I had to create a new channel for it because it was getting drowned out by all the content. It just needs its own channel. And it doesn't matter that we're producing 10 to 12 videos on this channel a year. They'll be hopefully viewed very, very widespread. Hopefully by episode 5 or 6, we'll have a lot of people spreading the word. Thank you, Daddy Dennis. Thank you, Hoosiers. Thank you, Superfish. Thank you, Hop G. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, everybody, for clicking on that link and subscribing to the Fantasy Football Intern sitcom YouTube channel. Episode 2 will drop in the next couple days. Go watch episode 1. See you all later. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Live whenever big news breaks, which this was big news. Rumor or not, it's big news. Great Scott, appreciate you. Marty, Great Scott. Later, Hoosiers. You know I appreciate you, Hoosiers. Marty, we must go back to 1986. Was it 86? 85?
Legend has it if you say St. Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
Thanks to Perps for dropping the gifted memberships like a monster. A celebratory message by Kenobi. Perps, you're an absolute maniac. Is Perps still in the building? Everybody give Perps a purple monster emoji and let him know you see him. Perps, appreciate you. Prayers up to Ron Navy. No, we haven't seen him in a little while. He's probably just taking some time spending with the fam. And prayers up to Ron Navy. Ron Navy, if you're out there, we're thinking of you. And we will see you all tonight on the Dynasty channel. That link is in the description, but I'm going to drop that link one more time. Dynasty channel link inbound. There it is. Do it live. And don't forget to get on over to The Fantasy Football Show. Articles, trade calculator, bold predictions, video courses, lifetime membership, so you never have to pay for content again. That option is there. But the video course section is going to be amazing this year. Just a catalog of how to trade out of the one, how to negotiate, how to size up your opponent, how to profile your opponent, how to figure out what they want, what they don't want, how to draft running back, how to draft wide receiver is best ball, how to play best ball, what's the best strategies for best ball. All those video courses will be, I would say by June 1, there should be 50 to 100 of them. So get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. Make sure you got your subscription, at least for 2024, but there's a lifetime membership option. Appreciate you all. See you all tonight on the Dynasty channel.
The stack above all stacks.
We're going to change this, by the way.
Drop the pancake emojis in the live chat.
It's going to have Stroud. It's going to have the triple stack. It's going to have the triple stack over here, and then we're going to have the double stack be the Burrow and Chase, and then the quad stack, if let's say Fields goes to Atlanta, we're going to have the quad stack. So right now this will be the triple. I'll definitely, worst case scenario, we'll have Joe Burrow. Let me put the triple stack right here. We'll have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase on here as the double stack. Okay. So they're not leaving. We're having fun with this trio. It's a fantastic trio. Let's go ahead and put the double stack right here. And we'll eventually, actually I could probably do it right now. We'll run it back live. Let's see here. Whoops. There's that. Okay, double stack. So double stack would be Joe Burrow. Where's Joe Burrow? Do I have him on here still? Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. So there. And where's Joey? Where's Joey B? There's Joey B. Okay, Joey B. And where's my Burrow? I probably need to... I'll recreate the names for them. But for right now, here's our double stack and our triple stack. Let me run it back one more time.
The stack above all stacks. It's time to drop the pancake emojis in the live chat.
There we go. Double stack. Best double stack, best triple stack in the biz. And we're out.